Okay, another hand. This is from 15L. 100NL has gone fine. I guess I can tell my bad beat story here. Uh, First 10k hands or so, all in big blinds about 7, which is fine. Just about 10 buy-ins below EV, which is about what my shop provided. So kind of frustrating to have a good win rate, even after just stone dropping like two buy-ins in like 10 hands yesterday, where my win rate was between 9 and 12 per 100. But I gave myself a shot and it didn't work out. Sometimes you need to run well in these shots, or just not like garbage to stay up. So anyway, back down to 15 I go. And another hand. Opening king queen suited. Getting 3-bet from the small blind. Incredibly standard sizing, so reggy sizing. 4x is very standard. Stats seem like a reg, so we know we're against the reg here. I decided to flat. I'm sure there's some merit to 4-betting king queen suited, and then folding to a jam, or 4-bet folding king queen suited. Excuse me. But I guess I'd prefer a flat suited and 4-bet king queen off. But I don't know. I'm not sure what the civs say, and I've noticed that it likes to 4-bet some suited hands sometimes. But I think in position it probably prefers a flat. Right, off to a flop of 10-5-7 rainbow. We flop 2 overs in the backdoor flush draw. He continues for 1/3, and I think this is a pretty mandatory continue. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to raise here. I think it gets weird. I guess I guess I could raise to like 12 and then just rip on all spades, jacks, nines, and kings or queens. And probably checking ace-x, because that's a really bad card for me, but I decided to just call. I don't know if I'm supposed to have a raising range here. I don't really have many hands for value. I don't have 10-5 suited. I probably don't have 7-5 suited. I think it's a little loose to peel a 3-bet with that, but we are in position. And this is probably a more linear reggy range, so it's probably okay. But yeah, I think for the most part, we'll have 5s, 7s, and 10s as pretty much our only value. So pretty narrow range, so probably just flatting is better. Turn is where it gets weird. I turn a spade. He continues for 2/3, and I think if he continued for smaller, I mean, he's obviously setting up a river jam, right? Like, he's going to go 2/3, 2/3. This is well sized. Seems pretty. Seems to pretty well correlate with like an overpair. Having king queen of spades means he's probably less likely to be bluffing, unless he's just airballing with ace king or ace queen, or like, I mean, ace 4 suited, maybe ace 3 suited, especially without spades, would be a great triple. But I don't know what his thoughts are of me, if he thinks I'm just a fish calling off too wide, yada yada. And I think to a 2/3 I just call. Jamming seems a bit much. The amount of ace 4 suited here is 8 combos of ace 4 suited, ace 3 suited, and I don't know. I guess against the 2/3 I'm much more inclined just to call. I think it's a bit suicidal to jam and hope for fold equity in the 3-bet pot, but maybe. Especially since it's a linear range, he can definitely have like 10-9 suited, jack 10 suited. Hands that he doesn't always have overpairs. He has top pairs and all that stuff too that can call off here. So I do just call. River's interesting. I expect him to check a fair bit. Check calling with overpairs, and then I will bluff and he'll call. But we don't get up the opportunity. He jams, and obviously I have to fold. So yeah, I think this is pretty standard. Turn, I guess, could be a jam. I'm open to that opportunity. Flop could also be a check raise, and then we just get it in on the deuce of spades turn. Open to that opportunity too. But it does feel bad to fold so much. If we go 14 here, we have to just fold, I guess. I don't know. That gets weird. So, because I guess you could do it with ace 10 suited. So you could 3-bet jam the flop with ace 10 suited, so we probably have to call off. So I guess I guess this is fine. I think this is okay played. But this is just a weird spot. Like, the turn is weird, the flop is weird, and I guess pre-flop is weird to some extent. Anyway, here is what I perceive a reg 3-betting range to be from the small blind against the cutoff. It's linear range. This is what my range would be, I guess. I would probably just fold most of these, so maybe I'd have these 25% of the time. And I'd probably start 3-betting sixes. But that's probably only half the time, and then everything else seems standard. I guess I'd probably fold these hands too. King 7 suited, King 8 suited, Queen 8 suited. These could maybe get mixed in here, so half the time. And my flatting range in position against when I open cutoff, it's a little different than opening the button. I have fewer hands, so I'm going to continue with fewer hands. I'm probably 4-betting ace-5 suited. I might just fold these hands. I guess we're pretty deep, so maybe I shouldn't be. But these all seem like pretty good continues. Continuing here some of the time, 6-4 suited seems fine. In these hands, I'm probably more apt to turn into 4-bet bluffs than to call. But I guess I can keep them in here sometimes. Okay, so we should be on his strategy. Yep. So yeah, he's supposed to bet here a pretty large amount of the time. I think 1/3 is standard and what I would bet. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so King Queen suited actually of all suits, even King Queen of clubs, is a call. But let's just see. I assume this board is better for him than for me. Yeah, I guess it's pretty neutral. We both have pretty much similar equities here. Wow, I'm surprised to see my EV is so much lower than his. That's actually really interesting. The equities are pretty close, but his EV, I guess he just c-bet takes it down here a lot, and that's probably why. Yeah, my range is so narrow. Like it's really only 10x and sets that I have that has good EV here. Whereas everything, he just c-bets these hands and wins. Okay, fair enough. Other thing I want to see was what is my raising range? Jacks. I guess this is my best overpair that I'm flatting. And I'm only doing that some of the time. I'm surprised to see threes get in here. I'm probably never check raising threes. If I saw someone, I'm not check raising, I guess. If I saw someone raise threes on this flop, I would probably think they're spewing as opposed to doing something theoretically correct. It's not that often either, but it is like more than, it's like 10 to 15%, which is weird. I don't see why, but sure. Ace 10 of clubs. Okay. My best 10x without a backdoor flush draw. Every time I see something with a backdoor flush draw, I don't know why it is what it is. I would assume we'd be raising with the backdoor flush draw because we have more equity, but yeah, I don't know. Every time I just get it wrong, so I'm just not even going to try and understand why that's happening. Regardless, the 2 of spades comes. He bets 2/3. It's interesting that aces are check here a lot. Mostly betting with the ace of spades. That makes sense. I would assume he's setting up for a check raise. But he bets 2/3. Okay, yeah, we're just calling. Makes sense. And yeah, I guess we're just committing ourselves with our 10x, especially of spades. Just have too much equity to fold. And I don't understand why it's different now. Where we're like committing ourselves with Queen 10 of spades, but not King 10 and Ace 10 of spades. That is very weird to me. But what do I know? I guess we don't block Ace King with Queen 10, so sure. River's the 10 of clubs. Interesting that he's betting with kings and checking with aces. I would have assumed, like, I think checking with jacks is better just because there's less jacks for me to get value from. But I guess because he's bluffing with jack 8 suited. So it just kind of like blocks a calling range that I would have. Sure. So obviously he rips, and we what? Okay, first shock of this is that I'm supposed to call with King Queen of Hearts here half the time. I'm definitely not sick enough to do that. I just don't believe people are barreling off with I have no idea what. Jack 9, Jack 8. He's turning King 7 into a bluff. Like, this is for value for sure, right? 6-8, sure. And I mean, I would, expect people to be able to triple that off, but I would not feel comfortable calling down with King High. I would think that would just be a snaplock. Anyway, we do call. Or we did fold. we don't call King High. Yeah. I think that seems pretty standard. Only thing is on the turn, I wanted to see what he's supposed to do when he checks. King, Queen of Spades. Interesting as a check. I guess I'm going to assume he's setting up for a check raise, so we don't want to bet anything that we are not willing to go with. So let's say we bet, and then he's just getting it in here with aces pretty frequently, and all of his overpairs. That makes sense. And all of his 10x, that makes sense. 5x as a bluff, sure. Or ace 5 exactly, because I guess he's blocking this range, sure. That's interesting, but and I guess that's something to keep in mind is aces with a spade is going to bet, and aces without a spade is better as a check just because I have more like backdoor stuff that I'm going to barrel with here, and I can jam and put that range in trouble. Anyway, quick one. But that's pretty much all there is to it. I think it's standard. Just thought it was an interesting hand.